This is Dr. Latasha McElwain with Insightful Options. I am here today to give an overview of consulting. I'm doing this overview because I have got many questions about doing consulting work, especially in the field of counseling, psychology, therapy, mental health, substance abuse. I've gotten a lot of questions about it in the past from supervisees, but I wanted to kind of just do an overview of what a consultant would look like, just giving a whole overview of consulting and being able to do, if you're asked to be a consultant, if you're a professional that someone realizes that it's your expertise in this, that, or the other, and they decide they want to have you come on as a consultant. I just wanted to give an overview. This is for the professional development part of my supervision that I typically do. And it's just really talking about consulting and talk about what you do as a consultant if someone asks you to be one, some of the roles that you may pick up, or different ways you can be a consulting to help out a business or help out an individual per se. So I wanted to just dive in a little bit here. Again, this is just an overview of being a consultant. And for the most part, individuals that do talk to me about it, they can consult in many different areas, depending on, what their field of expertise is. But I've been definitely dancing around different areas with many of my counseling majors, as well as many of my counseling professionals, and just talking with them about different things they can do within their career as a counselor and kind of branch out and do different things for the most part. I have also, as of late, been talking to individuals about the consulting piece of helping people come into the realization of writing a book, since I've just recently wrote a book and, in the process of waiting on getting everything together for the release of my book. So there's so many different areas that people can consult in. So wanted to just dive in this just to give an overview to a lot of supervisees that are wondering and asking. So I just wanted to give an overview. All right. So consulting overview. So basically, a consultant is an individual that provides experience, expertise about an issue or a process, specifically in different areas. It could be business, it could be healthcare, it could be, like I said, mental health, it could be therapeutic uh, interventions, it could be psychology, it could be law, it could be many different areas. So a consultant is also a highly paid person, typically, or a highly paid company that will come in. They're hired to improve and evaluate a business or an organization to kind of give them some good information back, as in what can be done to make things more efficient and more effective within their practices and some of the processes that they have in place. Knowledge relating to an issue. So basically, having the experience and the expertise implies that there are different kinds of knowledge a consultant may bring pretty much, to the table, and they may have this ability to, give different types of uh, areas that they're able to, talk about, as far as it could be. I'm going to use my business, for example. If I bring a consultant into Insightful Options to work with me, I'll probably want that consultant to definitely have some healthcare background, because we're doing a lot of billing and a lot of services around healthcare. And then I probably would want a consultant also to be on the business side of things. So they would be able to look at some of our numbers and see where we are, and also to see how effective we are as far as providing our services, and to make sure that we are, getting good feedback from our patients. So I would probably want them to work on maybe a survey or something that can go out to my patients and things like that. So that's just kind of an idea of different areas that a consultant could possibly bring to the table. A consultant can also come in and do more of a survey type situation with employees. So that's another way that a consultant can be pretty much involved with a company, and being able to give them that information that they need, and they have knowledge and experience in doing things like this in the past. So basically they have knowledge of, again, like I said, healthcare. They have knowledge of client care. They have knowledge of working with employees. They have knowledge of the business side of things, running the numbers and everything else. They have knowledge of how the processes are formulated within what we do as counselors for the most part. So a lot of good things go in there if we're wanting to get a consultant in that area. Same thing with law. I'm sure if someone's looking for a consultant to come into a law firm, same thing. They will want them to have some level of experience. They don't have to be a counselor, and no, they don't have to be a lawyer. No, they don't have to be a computer whiz or anything like that. But they have to have the basis of understanding what makes a business kind of go and what keeps the pages turning there. So theoretical knowledge gained from study or experiments, firsthand knowledge. It could also be if they have firsthand knowledge of the targeted community that you're working with, if they actually have new ideas based on some theory or some practice or whatever the case may be. All of these things play into becoming a consultant or knowing what a consultant do or what a consultant can do. So a lot of these things come into play. So being very knowledgeable sounds like the biggest part that I want to, just elaborate on and keep talking about here. Basically, being a good, being able to practice in the knowledge and understand that you have experience in that area, you have expertise with different models and approaches, and you are also pretty good at the outreach and family literacy, kind of knowing what the community need or what what is expected in that area, or whatever, what is wanted in that area. So hopefully the company that you're consulting for would be able to do those things to kind of switch up and be able to give the community exactly what they're needing. So consulting, basically the overview is just saying that there's, a large knowledge base that could be brought to the company, the person, the firm, whomever is hiring an individual as a consultant. And the consultant, just got to have a pretty good grasp on, who they're going to work for and what they're going to be doing for the most part. Knowledge of a process. So basically, consultants can address many different things. They can address assessing the community, organization, other assets, needs and preferences. They can also start looking at strategic planning for the initiatives or for the organization. They can do things of that nature. They can definitely look at planning, interventions and initiatives. And like sometimes when we're talking about planning interventions or initiatives, on the end of planning initiatives, I know for a fact, because I do this in my own nonprofit, that when we're planning for initiatives, we're coming up with kind of a whole program. And we're coming up with all the things that we'll do for this program, whether this program is going to be us providing a service or us providing some type of education, workshops, seminars, or is it just going to be a program where we promote the awareness of a service. And as we're promoting the awareness of the service, when we find out that we have individuals that want to be a part of that service, then we're able to refer them to the agency that's going to do the service or do the work. So we build awareness as well. So we're talking about initiatives. A lot of times, building those initiatives do come along with rather, we're going to be doing the service, or we're going to be, passing them on, or we're like that person to help them link individuals to other individuals to, get things going, resources and things of that nature. So just wanted to kind of mention that. Another thing, knowledge of processes when it comes down to starting the organizational development, creating my own nonprofit. I'm a person that probably can be a consultant for someone else when we're talking about creating a nonprofit or creating a private practice. So there are a lot of different things that, when you do start going through the process of business development and things like that, you start to learn stuff and you start to know stuff, and then you start to be able to be, successful in those areas. So you can definitely consult and put in the processes of getting from one point to the other. Another thing to think about is the implementation of the strategy, the strategic plan that you guys come up with, the interventions that you guys want to use in the initiatives that you do come up with, being able to implement those things, maybe being able to execute. Um, Another area we want to look at is personnel issues. We talked about that a little bit earlier, talking about whether the employees are happy, what the employees want, what makes keeps the organization going from the employee side, employee retention, things of that nature. So interpersonal relationships within the organization, how the culture is within the organization. I talk about that a lot in a lot of my nonprofit courses that I do teach at one of the universities I'm at. But a lot of times we're thinking about the culture, what goes on within the agency, and how to, work along with everyone, making sure that everyone's on board, the relationship among the group members, between organizations and between groups and all this other good stuff, the groups they serve, all that fun stuff kind of jumps out when I'm thinking about knowledge of the process. Areas of expertise. So basically, when we're talking about the areas of expertise, yes, I know you don't have to be a lawyer to come in and help a law firm do specific things that they might be looking for as far as them needing a consultant. Same thing with a counselor. I may not need a counselor, but I would need somebody that maybe that does have that some of that experience, or know that some of those areas of expertise when it comes to healthcare and healthcare billing and all this other stuff that we do in healthcare. Same thing with opening a business. Restaurant work, same thing. If someone wants to come in and be a consultant for a restaurant to get them on track. So yeah, so areas of expertise, we're talking about special functions to be performed for the organization. So sometimes it could be different special functions they come up with. It could be advocating, it could be advocacy, it could be negotiating contractual relationships, it could be other business matters, it could be grant writing, it could be facilitation to the staff. It could be a community relations or PR, meaning that you want to get that agency out in the community a lot more, and you're doing some things like that, or doing a full evaluation of what's going on. So those are areas of expertise that they, typically may look to you for, or maybe asking for when they're looking for a consultant. Objectively, basically, some organizations need someone to come in that has no stake in the business, but in this sense, basically, they don't have any history with the business. They know the history of the business, but they don't know the history. They're not, in the business. They're not in the operations of the business, but they can analyze a lot of this information and be able to help the company through whatever difficult periods they're having and difficult situations that they're having. Another part to look at as far as a consultant is basically one with the understanding of organizational development and can bring perceptions uncolored by personal investment, and they're willing to pretty much change the way they have the unwillingness to change the way things have always been done. So basically, they don't have that. They don't want to stick to what's been done. They're going to have the willingness to make sure that things are going to, they're going to look for some change. They're going to try to make some changes. They don't have any, perceptions against, oh, I don't want to make changes and things like that. They're going to try to work on what's going to make you guys be more efficient and what's going to make things work. So that's kind of where we're going with that. So what might you serve as a how much you serve as a consultant. So when we talk about serving as a consultant, I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Basically, your knowledge, expertise, and other abilities of things you can do will help you to do a lot of different things for an organization that they actually come in and be a consultant. So consulting means you can facilitate interventions and initiatives. You also can benefit to have position impact on a population that they're serving. For the most part, you basically able to put yourself in a position where there could be some benefits or some impact. Of course, the organization, you'll be able to provide the needed services to the community, being able to nurture that, making sure that that's exactly what the community is needing, and that's what they're actually providing. That's a big one sometimes to think about when a consultant come in. The consultant wants to make sure that everything is like no stones are being left unturned. So the other part is cementing the relationship with other organizations, building like a PR type relationship, community outreach with other agencies, encouraging collaboration, making sure that we are working together. Try to bring down that competition type scenario. So it does mention rather than encouraging collaboration rather than competition among health, human services, and community workers. So definitely building more relationships, I believe that's a great part of consulting. And then to help solve longstanding community problems. So longstanding community problems are things that are misconceptions or things that kind of happened in the past or whatever, but really kind of putting out there that we care, we work for the community, we do for the community and things of that nature. So a lot to think about when you're serving as a consultant and some of these areas come up. Um, I'll move along and definitely talk about also basically advance a good cause. So when you are um, serving as a consultant, you will be advancing a good cause. You will definitely be helping. You may be helping a friend out or helping out friends or helping people that people that you know from the community, people within the company, whatever the case may be. Just helping along the way, fostering long-term social changes. That's another one, and then also gaining recognition and credibility for yourself and your organization, or establish yourself, or basically as an expert in the field. So that's always a big thing as well when you are working on the side of consulting. So you are really putting out your expertise in helping individuals to understand, giving yourself that credibility that you are able to consult with this agency, that agency, to make sure that you're able to do a lot of good for them, and you're able to get the service, help them get the services out there that they need to serve the community. So that's another part to think about. So when and who might serve as a consultant? So when we can talk about basically the time frame that someone may ask you to come in, or a company may ask you to come in, or our company may decide they need to bring a consultant in. So sometimes they may bring a consultant in at the beginning. I can say that I have been on the front end of several startup companies, private practices, and DWI services agencies. I have been on the front end of helping them begin their process and getting everything in place and getting state certified and everything else. I have been on the front end of maybe one or two nonprofits now, helping them to get started and get moving, based on the fact that I have built my nonprofit. And then the other area I think that I've more so consulted in is supervision areas. I've definitely done a lot of consulting and different things in the supervision area with different companies and things of that nature. And then doing some trainings also. I've definitely been in that capacity to do some trainings and things of that nature. So this right here all have to do with consulting. So on the beginning stages of a company, yes, something new at the beginning, they'll call a consultant to come in. When the organization is having trouble, when an organization is in trouble, I do get calls sometimes because I have dealt with uh, a federal investigation before. With I was involved in a federal investigation, so I do get calls sometimes that people will ask me, or they'll tell me who's coming, what's going on, and they're under a state or whatever type of audit. So I do get calls sometimes like that, and I do try to give them as much information as I can and try to help them through it and try to understand the scenario and what's going on. So another win is when there's an opportunity to help. So if I hear something's going on with someone sometimes, or someone say I'm going to do so and so and so, and I say, I've done that before. If you need anything, just let me know. Just kind of jumping in and helping folks out. So sometimes that has happened to me. And then basically when it could be a clearly a benefit to the population, however it's going to work. If someone says something to me about children with special needs, I will say in a minute, or parenting with a person with a child with special needs, or whatever the case may be, I'll say in a minute, I have information for that person, and I really would want to jump in and give them some information. And it wouldn't matter to me if I'm getting paid to consult about that or not, because that's a big area for me, and it's definitely an area that I feel like I am an expert in, and I feel like I have some authority in it. So yeah, there we go. So now let's move on to who. So who might be serving as a consultant? So basically, who would be called up as a consultant, or could be serving as a consultant? Sometimes as former and current, program directors. So if directed some programs and kind of understand the ins and outs of, let's say, a group home service. I'm just using mental health type services, substance abuse, a DWI service or something like that, or a intensive in-home services. A lot of these services, you would be able to help individuals to get things up and running. You've provided direct care, you have direct experience with the population, you have some organizational design that you understand how to get things going, development, and the management of it. Those individuals can be called. Also, local, former local and state officials, they definitely can be called for things. Legislators can be called. They're called in for consulting, like big consultants sometimes. When it comes down to other people who have dealt with policies and standpoints, then yeah, they would definitely be the one from a policy standpoint. You would also look at community activists. You would look at advocates, members of a target community or population, also academics, graduate students, professors, and people of organizational and process skills like counselors, mediators, social workers, and psychologists. So these are all areas of when and who might serve as a consultant, when you might serve and who might serve. So define the role of a consultant. So when we talk about consultant, there can be several different roles, and I wanted to put them in here so people can really understand that you could be doing a magnitude of things, or you could be doing one thing or another, or you could be doing just one thing, period. So most of the time when people are looking for a consultant, they're looking for someone could be looking for someone to be an advisor. That person will suggest possibilities. That person may work with the group. That person may be permanent. That person may not be permanent. They might just be used once a year or something like that. They might be in the day-to-day activities, who knows? But that person can also serve as a mentor. And then you have the facilitator. So the facilitator basically, conducts the process and everything, and may range in running, one or more meetings to facilitate, the whole process of planning. They might also look at the implementing things. They might look at the evaluation, new interventions that might come into play. They might carry out a full agenda, and they may set up and conduct processes as well. So that's kind of like a facilitator coming in. That person might even do a training class, facilitating before everyone the new process or whatever. The expert, your value lies in your knowledge. So you know the theoretical practices, you know the methods, you are in that field of study, and you are the expert. You could be considered as that person in the role. You can be the specialist. The specialist is having that special knowledge and skill to perform those special tasks. So that person also can be like a grant writer. That person can be an author. That person can be can be consultant in different areas as well. So it's a lot of different, things can go on there with a specialist. If they bring you in as a trainer, the trainer will come in, work with the staff, the volunteers, or even the specific population or whatever, but they have other skills and specific skills and processes also to be looking at. And then what should you be doing? So if someone is looking for you to be a consultant, first of all, they already know you got some experience in that area. Probably that's why they're asking, or whatever the case may be. The biggest thing is to get your history together and start getting organized. Understand that organization and understand what they do, how they do it, why they do it, what are the issues there, what are the successes, and what are their weaknesses. So really kind of knowing the background of that business and what's going on and how you're going to jump in there and, consider helping or making them more effective or efficient in whatever areas. Personality, so personal relationships and turf issues. A lot of times when a person comes in and they're the consultant, you gotta be, you gotta be mindful. So you're the consultant, you're coming in. Who will you work, will you be working with there? Who will you be working with? People who are feeling kind of insecure about stuff or hoarding information, don't want to tell you, don't want to allow you to get in and know stuff for the most part, won't tell you anything. This can be poison to the organization. So you definitely have to be mindful of personalities, personal relationships, and then the turf issues. And then when you're also getting in there as a consultant, you want to know the vision and you know the mission. So what does the organization see for itself? What do they see themselves doing? What is it that they are, trying to accomplish? What is their vision and what is their mission? What is it and how can we convey that as we're moving forward? And that's what you're coming in to make sure happens for this company. So organization, culture, and philosophy. So yeah, what do they stand for? What do they like? What do they do? How's their culture of their business? So their expectations, their hierarchy among the staff. What is the culture like? What's going on, and how can we make it better? I'm a big morale builder. So I know in my current position at the hospital, I do a lot of morale stuff. So of course, it's getting ready to be not Thanksgiving, getting ready to be the holidays. So it's getting ready to be the holidays. We're going to be doing different things, and I'll be implementing different types of activities, at work. Probably not. I'm just getting back in there, so it'd probably be just morale building amongst the people, a lot of people on my team for the most part, and just making sure that everyone's kind of having a good holiday season. um okay, so what should you know? More of what you should know: the structure. We should also think about who's responsible for what, who makes decisions, what and how policies and procedures are, worked out there. So you kind of want to know that to get a good idea of how the structure is for the organization and what is going on. When it comes down to priorities, you definitely want to make sure you know what the main goals are and what do the group care about. So what is it that they really want to work on, and how do they want to work on things, and and coming up with ideas that can help them be successful. And then funding and resource, what the major funding source is and how much is available, and how to secure how secure is it? Like, how is that, not how to secure, but how is it secure enough, but you definitely want to focus on different things like that, just to make sure that things continue to go in a good direction for the most part as the consultant. Next part is tailor your support and guidance to the group and the situations. So one of the things you want to consider is you want to be unique in your style. So you want to be able to work with everyone, with the different styles of, leadership, the different styles of consulting. You definitely want to be able to, kind of be helpful to everyone and work with everyone in a good way. There are going to be some people that's going to give you some concerns, but for the most part, you're there to do a job, which is to make sure that you're a consultant for the company and doing what the goal is that the company want you to be in there to do. So understanding the group circumstances. So there are certain things that might go on, like I mentioned, the culture and different things of that nature. You want to understand some of that stuff, the group dynamics. You want to understand some of that. You want to examine the issues at hand, so the issues that you're there to focus on. You want to examine those, and if you see other issues come up, you want to make sure that you see them and you examine them, and make it known that, oh boy, I'm noticing there's an issue here. Understand potential consequences. So understand the consequences and the potential consequences of what's going on. You want to be flexible. You want to understand the long-term goals for the organization also. So I would say understanding the long-term goals, and I would say even the short-term goals, being mindful of those as well, and kind of, figuring out where things are going. Communication. So when it comes to communication and organizational skills, you definitely want to be clear in your communication, whether it's verbal communication or it's written communication. You want to be very clear. You also want to ask a lot of questions. You want to see what's going on. You want to make plans, and you want to inform others of the plans, and you want to see how far you can go as far as making that execution happen. Be respectful. You don't want to be quick in answering things that will get you thrown off track. So you want to be very deliberate when you are answering questions. So it's not like a quick answer just to get things moving. No, you want to be very deliberate. So so that you are examining everything. You want to ask for feedback and ask for support, because that is a great part of being a collaborator and being, into, what you're doing. Create markers of progress. So basically, kind of, I always tell people, moving the mark, or moving the arrow forward, moving further along down the line, expanding things, and seeing that you're making some good progress. And then also being positive. So being positive and optimistic is going to be a big part of the process, and making sure that you are, you know, carrying out the task of being a consultant, because sometimes it could be some difficult moments and some difficult times. So a lot of your interpersonal skills and different things of that nature, a lot of that will come into play, just being really, kind and graceful with everything that you're doing, and really focusing on the big picture of the company itself. So I think consulting is a great avenue for a lot of counseling professionals, as well as social work areas, and psychology and things of that nature. So, like I said, I just wanted to put this overview out there. Didn't reinvent the wheel at all. Just wanted to put some information on. Some PowerPoint here, and then talk about it in great detail, as far as what to look forward to if you are requesting someone's requesting you to be a consultant, or you are looking to start doing consulting work in mental health, or substance abuse, or counseling, or uh, therapy, or in healthcare. If you're looking, someone asking you about law, if you're wanting to do some different areas. So a lot of consultants are not necessarily fully in the area, but they do have the expertise of I would say, the overarching part of it. So if I bring a consultant in that is a old executive director, so if they're a former executive director, I'm bringing them in to come in, oversee my company, and work from all avenues and all angles, to help us get to the next level. If we were trying to, I don't know, plumb a corporate type scenario ladder or whatever with our company, that we're a big large corporation, we're moving into that direction, we have enough employees, and we just have to move. I'm just using the example, but I'm just saying that is, those are things to think about when we're talking about bringing a consultant in. So I say that to say, I don't want any of my supervisees, or my interns, or anyone else for that matter, to be too afraid of consulting. This is just a rundown of talking about consulting, because like I said, in the counseling field, we're normally taught to be counselors, to be therapists, psychology, and all that stuff. We're not necessarily taught the ins and outs of business, the ins and outs of being a consultant, the ins and outs of all the different areas that we can adventure in being in the business that we're in. And that's one thing that I do on a regular basis, is venture out into different areas, still using my field of expertise and my field of study, in order to venture out into those areas. So venturing out into doing trainings, venturing out to doing workshops, venturing out to business development, as far as developing not only counseling businesses, but other businesses. So developing my real estate stuff, developing my nonprofit. So, it's just all these different areas that we can actually go in, which is, really, really different from what I went to school to actually learn, which is to sit down and talk to clients all day, and, kind of be ball and chain to my desk. But no, that's not what every counselor will continue to do their entire career. So to have some career variation, I wanted to share more about the overview of becoming a consultant, or putting yourself in that position to be a consultant. And so, to give some clear understanding. All right. Well, I hope this video was very helpful, and I hope everyone have a great evening, day, morning, whatever time of day you're at. I hope you have a wonderful one. Thanks so much.